All right, all right, all right. Let's get this thing kicked off. It's one of these buttons over here, isn't it? I think it's that one. That one's usually the one. Hey there, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time it might be in your part of the world.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
It is so good to see you. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today, what day is today? Today is April 24th, 2025. We're going to write a little bit of code today. How you doing there, chat room? We're broadcasting live on Twitch and YouTube. Let me bring on the chat room. They're right over here. Hello, we're getting started here. And I'm going to be diving back into coding after some time away. We just finished a 2-day .NET Conf Focus event. CTI Geek is here.
Subscribed for 24 months.
24 months. Thank you so much for that support. Bringing that Prime subscription here. 2 years. Thank you so much for that support. Good morning to you in Virginia. TMK DK with the big wave. Billy Cool as well. Hello, hello. PC Nerd. How you doing there? Greetings and salutations. Your streams have been missed. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, gotta take care of the stuff. I had the event Tuesday and Wednesday, and it went very well. We exceeded our expectations in viewership on those, so quite happy about that. And we're getting ready for Microsoft Build. We're getting ready for St. Jude fundraiser month. It's going to be a lot of fun here over the next 4 to 6 weeks. So I hope those of you that might be watching the recording, I hope you tune in live for the fun, the shenanigans. It's going to be a lot of chaos. Like, that's kind of the thing. It's going to be a lot of chaos. A lot. Not just a little. A lot. Today, we're going to dive back into where we were with SharpSight. And I was reviewing where we left off. We're getting things set up so that we can start swapping out, start injecting database providers, and having this concept of data providers that ship with the CMS system, so you can load them up and wire up to whatever database you want and have it automatically scaffold and build out that database for you. So that's where we're going to go today. And my camera, did my camera freeze there? No. Yes? No. Kiss my pixel.
Kiss me pixels 99 just resubscribed for 16 months. Hello
16
there.
months. Thank you so much for that support. That's going to start us on a hype train. Woo. Thank you so much for the support. Let me head over. Of course, everything about SharpSight you can find on sharpsight.org, and that'll also connect you to the GitHub so you can see more about the project we're working on. I'm going to start some music playing in the background here, and then we will dive in to the project. I'm going to go with the Stream Beats Synthwave playlist. Let's go way down near the bottom. Let's start here. This is called Hacker Man. How we doing? Is that good enough? There we go. This is music that's DMCA free. You see it right up there. DMCA free, royalty free. Listen to it wherever you'd like. There's all kinds of genres available. Big thanks to the folks at Stream Beats and Harris Heller for their work writing this music we're listening to today. The banner gives heavy machinima Modern Warfare 2 MLG montage vibes. Right? It does. It's so good. It's so good. Let me drop a message in chat for other folks who might wander in. Let's see. We are adding database plugin support to SharpSight. That's the project we're working on. And we'll drop a link here. Nitro Evil.
Nitro Evil _ just resubscribed for 33 months.
Thank you so much. 33 months with us. Thank you. Really appreciate the support. That means a lot. Is my camera freezing? Yeah, much appreciate the support there. There we go. All set there. We're right. We're still on the hype train. Are we still on the hype train? I can't tell because I've got the pinned message there. There we go. 2.5 minutes to go in the hype train. Awesome stuff. So let me dive back in. Let's head back into this and get caught up on where we were, talk through it, and start really building some of the hooks that we need for this. Right, we need to make sure that we've got this connected properly, this plug-in capability, so that not only can you choose a database, but after you choose a database, specify here's where the database is, here's how to connect to the database. Once we find it, apply Entity Framework migrations so that that database is up to date. Junie!
Junie_Von_S just resubscribed for 50 months. Boop semi-curling.
50 months with us. Thank you so much, my friend. And that's going to take us to a level 2 hype train. Thank you so much for that support. Appreciate the resubs. So, right, you're going to choose a database provider, specify how to connect to the database provider, and then we're going to make sure that that database is all migrated and up to date so that SharpSight can start using it. Apply migrations, load base data, create an initial user, and away we'll go. So, I just got a thing here that says gift 1 sub for a reward. Eh? Really? I don't know what that means. All right, let me head over to the code and we'll get things. We'll dive back in and get things started, happening, doing the thing that we're doing. I was working on the Blazing Pizza workshop. That's updated and in a much better place now. I'm feeling good about where we are with that. That was well overdue for an update. Here we go. Hey, Napalm, good morning to you. We are in a hype train for the next 3 minutes. And I am drinking coffee like there's no tomorrow. What can I tell you? All right, let's see. I am going to... No, didn't want to do that. Jean Valjean.
Gene80 just resubscribed for 65 months. Gene the High.
Hello, thank you so much. Great to see you, my friend. That is Coder 24601 to you. 65 months with us. Thank you. 2.5 minutes on the level 2 hype train. Here we go. Here we go. We've got to come back and do some localization at some point here as well. It's been a while since we've updated and done some of that. Wow, that's a really long username. It's a nice username, but that's a really long username. Somebody who just joined chat. All right. Excuse me. Let's dive back into where we were with this. We can even take a look at the log. What were the last things that we did here? Not clog. Git clog. Shows you a bunch of wooden shoes. No. Project references to SharpSight abstractions base in data storage project. Add SharpSight abstractions data storage. All right, that's where we were. Back over here. Zoom in the things. I had to give a presentation last night at 11 o'clock at night, local time, to a group of folks in India and Asia. Ooh, so I am catching up here. When I have enough time, enough caffeine, time can blend enough that there's not even a yesterday anymore, let alone tomorrow. That's like a speed of light thing, Jedi Mega Man. Like, time doesn't happen anymore when you go at the speed of light. It's just kind of all blurred together, you know? Hey, hello. When's my next C++ stream? That's not happening. That's not happening. I'm trying to get my mind around getting back up to speed here. I don't want to look at tests yet because that's going to be a whole nother thing to go figure out. We were pulling this apart, the registration and configuration of Postgres services. There we go. I configure data storage. Yeah. But at least you can see me in Cyrodiil now? What? At least I'm not going ludicrous speed and going plaid. Facts. Pulse is digital. We might switch to vector database. Any quick tips? I don't have any insight, any expertise, insight, quick tips on vector database yet. I'm right at the beginning of my own journey with vector databases, so I don't want to suggest something that I don't have expertise in yet. I'm working on it. I'll get back to me in a couple weeks. We'll get there. Quadrant is the one that I keep being referred to, but I'm seeing other database systems getting vector capabilities as well. So you might not need to go to a vector-specific database if some of the larger database systems start bringing in vector storage. So you can't imagine being functional enough at that time of night to give a presentation. Oh yeah, that's what I do. That's the job. So yep. All right. So we started defining, where is it? Abstractions, data storage, and this I configure data storage. Okay. So we have a collection of configuration fields that are going to be specified that you need to complete for a database provider. All right. And then a method. Here's how to go configure the data storage. I don't think we should call it configure data storage. Set data storage configuration, and I think we also want to do a we're also going to want to do a get data storage configuration. Yeah. So that we know here's how to save that, here's how to get it, and it'll go figure out and do that on its own. Hey there, ice cream stick model. I pinned a message up at the top there. We're working on setting up database initialization and configuration as a plugin for SharpSight. Marcus had to do a whole course once in twilight hours because it was hosted in India. Similarly, Marcus, I I taught a Blazor workshop in Melbourne, Australia, from here in Philadelphia. And the workshop started at like 8 p.m. my time and ran till like 2 a.m. That was... And right, we see this when you time shift and you're dealing with folks in different time zones. It happens to folks when you do work with folks outside of your local region. So no, next Python stream, not gonna happen. No. Why does it need to be application state model? It needs to be that because we're in an abstraction here. And the application state isn't available to us. The application state's actually defined in the website. So I can't reference the concrete class. So I have an abstract interface that's pulled down lower so that I can interact with it. This way, my data storage reference here, as we build data storage plugins, Postgres, MySQL, Cosmos DB, SQL Server, what have you. We won't have to refer to the entire collection. We've got a smaller set of interfaces we can reference. Why does data storage need access to know what application state model it is? So what I'm hearing you suggest, it's not a bad idea, is why does the configure data storage need to know how to get and set its keys for the database? Its configuration keys. Hey, smirking squiggly. And why doesn't the application state just figure that out and present it and manage it itself? That's not bad. I hear you. So if we go that way, and it doesn't need to know that, we have a set of configuration fields and with as a sorted dictionary, so we know what order to present those fields. So we could, all right. I feel you. So then we could do no. Get assemble connection string. And I would be receiving a dictionary of connection string parts. Okay. That kind of works. Where is it going to be reading connection strings if database provider is configurable? So let me go through these. I'm tempted to start Charlie so I can manage questions. Sure. Let me do that real quick, just to make it a little bit easier for me to manage questions. No, go up one. That's not what I wanted. Rats. Jump back over here. Hello, Nalian.
Just resubscribed for 23 months.
23 months. Thank you so much for that support. 10x developer Fritz, absolutely. My gosh, that hat went over. Big thanks to Surly Dev for that. Let me get Charlie started here, and I'll be able to queue up some messages. Oh my gosh, we gotta. This is where I want Copilot to work. Go clear these things up. I don't want to be looking at all that junk. You, Copilot, go figure that out. You don't need me doing that. Let's see, we can close some of these things that are running over here. I think. My goodness. There is a ton of garbage running in the background here. Anyways. All right. Here. Cool, we're all connected. All right. So I'll be able to manage new questions as they come in, but I will get to those first couple that we had there. So, where's it going to read connection strings if database provider So this will be... That's internal to... That's internal to the plugin. You're right. You're right. Okay. You're right. We don't need to expose that outside of, but what we do need to be able to register our repository objects, right? What? Yeah, the plugin, the plugin already has something like that. This is good to challenge my thinking so that I don't over-engineer things and I don't run into into something that I define twice. We did that a couple times in TagZap.
Squirrel!
Yes, very squirrel. Where is it? With the plugin manager. Right? So we have a plugin manager that knows how to start things. Wise Otter
just resubscribed for 21 months. C# party, C# party.
Thank you so much. How you doing there? Appreciate the support. That was how many months? 21 months. Thank you so much, Wise Otter. Really appreciate it. So there's register with service locator for the plugin assembly. And this looks for register plugin, and it looks for a couple of these things and does the registration. I like this indirect way to register so that you can't just register whatever you want. It prevents plugins from injecting other things and hijacking the way that something runs. So I think I'm going to be okay with this. And it means that we're setting up this catalog of things that can be registered. So I might be okay with just that. And we'll adapt the Postgres configuration so that it does this. I think we do need ensure database, migrate database, a method that will deploy the database, deploy database. Or didn't I start something like that? I thought it, oh no, it would be in here. Right, create database if not exists. I don't think I put that in here. No. Okay. So, let's say, create new data storage. This method is called when a new data storage plugin is installed. And then I think we'll have update data storage. This method. Yeah, there we go. Not bad. Thanks. So I'll have ways to register the plugins the other way. So how you doing there, Reg9K? Enjoyed .NET Conf? Thanks so much. We had a lot of fun running that. We're on an ad break for the next 2 minutes. As a 10x developer, I'm not to be bothered with compiler warnings. Surly. Oh, excuse me. Hiccups. Surly Dev, good afternoon to you. Just some standard syntax for app settings, JSON? A little bit, yes. Yes, ice cream stick model, yes. And formalizing those interactions through an interface means that if we decide to shift from app settings JSON to a SQLite database for application configuration, the implementation logic is hidden. So, congratulations on pulling off .NET Conf again. Thank you. You preferred the shorter format. After the ad break is done, I want to come back to that in a second. I want to come back and talk about that. The Azure Functions team released an update to the NuGet packages for storage triggers. Just one problem. They didn't update the isolated base image needed to run your function. Oh, jeez. Hey, Fat Belly Matt Kelly. Sure. Where's the collapse all? There you go. I'll open those up a little bit so you can see what's going on in there. There you go. I'll leave that sit for a little bit until we get on the other side of the ads. So Surly Dev hinted, now that we've got a bunch of folks here, over the past 2 days we ran a .NET Conf focus event. And we ran it over 2 days. We should have folks coming back from ads right about now. So, yeah, over the last 2 days, we ran this .NET Conf event, and we scheduled it a little bit differently so that we had 2 half days for the event instead of one 8 to 10 hour day with 1 hour sessions, and we wanted to go a little bit deeper on this content, so we had hour-long sessions instead of the shorter half-hour sessions like we do for some other events. Chat, what did you think of that change to format for .NET Conf? Particularly for a focus event, so that you didn't have a full day that you were watching the event, and I felt like it was a little bit easier to pick and choose what sessions you were going to tune into, because you weren't going to be committed to a full day. So you could pick, you know what, 9 a.m. or 2 in the afternoon, I'm going to watch this session, and tomorrow at 11 a.m. I'm going to watch this session, or at 3 p.m. I'm going to watch that session, and it spread out the content over real time, over non-conference time, so that it was a little bit easier to get in and get engaged. What do you think of that? Fat Belly Matt Kelly, what do you think of the way that I've organized the solution here? There's a lot of projects going on in here because we're building these abstractions so that last block down here, it says samples, but this is also going to contain plugins that we distribute. So, for like themes that you distribute, themes need to be saved to disk. So how do you store those files? Well, the first plugin that we wrote was for the file system, right? So you could change out how that content is saved. You might be running in a container. You might be running with S3 storage. You might be running with Azure storage, some other file storage provider. You may even want to store it in a database. Trying to understand? Not a problem. Fat Belly Matt Callie asks, will Blazor WebAssembly ever go to multi-threading? They've tested some of those concepts, and they haven't because WebAssembly doesn't support multi-threading yet. That was the last I heard. And they're not going to implement something just because the base model works. It has, right, the base platform has that facility unless it brings value. And I think in the initial tests, working with some of the multi-threading capabilities that were being tinkered with, the WebAssembly multi-threading just wasn't, in the browser, wasn't performant enough. It was a step backwards in performance, and they're waiting for that to level up a little bit before they roll it out. So it's supported, but it's not supported because it's kind of like a preview, not quite their thing, and they're not quite there yet. So they intend to when it becomes adequate enough, but it's not quite there. Atrum says, or on disk mypathfile.txt. Yes, that's what the file storage, the file system file storage abstraction gives you the ability to do Atrum. And right, that's the typical, hey, I'm installing the system on the metal, right, directly in the operating system. You're going to want file system file storage. But if you're installing and running it in the cloud, deploying somewhere, you're going to want Azure storage, Azure Blob storage, S3 storage, so on and so forth. So you have, the idea is to have those flexible options for folks who install and run this in different places. You're wondering about that? Glad to see. Yeah. So what you're going to see, and what you continue to see, is the .NET team is watching and updating, particularly the web folks, updating and keeping up with the various technologies, tools, trends that are out there that folks are building with. That's why you see .NET Aspire iterating so quickly, because the cloud native folks, the integrations that they're collaborating with and building into, they're keeping those up to date with the other technologies that are out there. Ice Cream Stick Model asks, is Blazor server-side rendering, does that support multi-threading? Yes. It does. Oh, I don't have the overlay on this screen. Stand by. Charlie, lower third. There we go. It does. It does. And it's when you when it's you're going to run into the same type of invoke async interaction that you need to do to make sure that you update the user interface on the user interface maintenance thread. So you can set up and run tasks in the background, right, which are background threads, and you need to pass things back to the main user interface thread so that it will update and deploy. What does server-side rendering do? It renders code on the server, maintaining state on the server, and it uses a combination of technologies that are available to make sure it has good connection to the client. Things like WebSockets. I'm forgetting the other server-side push technologies, but and all the way down to HTTP long polling to be able to update and push content to the browser. So, what do we got over here? Okay, sure. So, there you go. I'll answer that question from Locarno. Sure. Is Blazor's slow adoption out in the wild concerning? Is it plateauing too low for its long-term good? No, it's not concerning. Here's the deal. Folks in the tech community don't like Microsoft. The folks who do like Microsoft really like Blazor. They do. Because it solves many problems and, quite frankly, is innovating and delivering features that none of the other JavaScript, TypeScript, web frameworks do. So there's Blazor features that are in other Microsoft products. We're not allowed to talk about them. But there are Blazor features that are being deployed and running inside of tools, applications, features that you might be working with. Is the slow adoption out in the world a problem? We'd like there to be more adoption. The fact is, there are things that Microsoft has invented and done with ASP.NET Core, with Blazor, that the other technology stacks are flat out copying. And saying, oh, look what I invented. You didn't invent it. You saw that it was done over here in a technology that you don't like. And said, well, I'm going to build the same thing for my stuff. That's fine. That's not a bad idea, Billy. That's not a bad idea at all. SignalR is built off of WebSockets. Yep. Yep. SignalR, the backing up a second. Blazor server-side rendering uses SignalR to push content into the browser. SignalR makes its connections using WebSockets. I forget the other server-side push technologies. Code with Sean.
Just resubscribed for 58 months. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Thank you so much. Code with Sean was helping out with a little bit with moderating for the .NET Conf event the past few days. Much appreciate your help there. So let me go through some more. Dickie Lee says the hub, so one client's update to server side will push to all clients. No, that's something that you can control as the developer. Does this push update come back to one client, a group of clients, all clients? You have control over that. As a game dev, rendering is drawing cubes into the display, so server-side rendering sounds very strange. I hear you. Blazor gives you that flexibility to choose where rendering runs. And there are times where it makes a lot of sense to have rendering run in the client because it's going to run native code faster than any other code that runs in the browser. Yes. There are other times where, for security purposes, for intellectual property purposes, for ease of deployment, you want it running on the server, rendering on the server. And that's okay too. You have the power. You have the choice on that. Fat Belly Matt Kelly says components are so wild and useful to me. I love Blazor. Thank you. Yeah. Look, I'm going to go to the language picker here. I have one line of code here, not two. There is one line of code in my Blazor component where I can choose where this runs. I specify that. And I can override that on a parameter that uses this component, right? An attribute where this is called. So I can declare components, use them as directives, and change exactly where that runs with either a line of code here, like you see on line 5, or as an attribute when I execute this. You can't do that in the JavaScript framework du jour. It's great, great stuff. Napalm just learned this week about server send events. That's one of the render push technologies I was thinking of. Server send events, yes. Not sure, given limitations, why I would ever use those versus just going all in on WebSocket. WebSockets may be blocked by some firewalls. Server send events were an older technology that gets through the firewall. SSR in gaming is like GeForce Now. But there are some things that server-side rendered is not terrible, right? In gaming, you might bake lighting into a set. Here's the way that this room looks, and we're going to bake the lighting into it and send that rendered scene down. You don't need to have it until you actually need to see it, but send that scene down to the client with here's all the information about how it looks with all the lighting baked in. That rendering was done ahead of time on the server, and we're going to push it down on demand. That's server-side rendering. And then you're just loading it up in the client when it's ready to be presented. So until WebAssembly has a standardized DOM access API, it'll always be at least as fast, slow as JavaScript because it has to do a JavaScript call to do any actual DOM manipulations. Not entirely. Not entirely, Tenak. This isn't doing JavaScript to output that. It becomes native code that's rendering and outputting information. So, not entirely, but you are right that if there is another element on screen that I want to reach in and change that the WebAssembly code didn't generate in place there, you're right. I do need JavaScript. You're right. So, to that point, the more HTML DOM elements that I can generate and manage from WebAssembly, the better my interactions with them will be. But for just interacting with HTML elements inside the browser, it's not going to be as fast as JavaScript. It's just not. But the calculations you do, the interactions you do, the business logic you do inside your WebAssembly code will eat JavaScript's lunch every day of the weekend, twice on Tuesday. It will destroy JavaScript because it's native code. It's not being interpreted on the fly. So you can write more sophisticated native code that runs in the browser with WebAssembly. Very useful to be able to push all the processing onto the client when applicable. Right, and to Marcus's point there, that helps JavaScript. Being able to push processing into the client helps when you want to build things like progressive web apps that run in the browser completely. You build a Blazor WebAssembly website. It got 10 million hits in a week. Put it on Azure, and it was all free hosting. Nice. Nice. That's great. You found it interesting that they are hacking the Azure Functions MCP implementation as the trigger? I have concerns about inserting AI into places for the sake of inserting AI. Like, there are times and places where it's a great thing to put AI into. There are other places where I don't need AI here. It was a political website. Don't think it should be shared on. Thank you. I appreciate the. I appreciate the consideration there, Fat Belly Matt Kelly. Thank you. We do try to keep things as politically neutral here as possible. AI as search result? No, AI as a search result, I don't think is completely terrible. As an initial response, I don't think that's completely terrible. Can I show this? Let me see if I can show this. One place where I think people have over pivoted on AI. Really? Stand by. I guess two-factor authentication just isn't what it was. No, we're going to do triple factor authentication. You can't just sign in. You have to receive a number, key that in, and then receive another number, and then key that in, and do the biometric on the authenticator that you keyed the thing into so that you can be granted access. This becomes theater at this point. All right. Let me see. I want to make sure I don't. Yeah. Here we go. I can show this. This is the Azure billing cost management portal. It used to be a table that showed you, here's your costs. It's now AI prompts. Why do I need to click a button that says, what are my forecast costs? Just show it to me. That's why I clicked the link that says cost allocation, cost alerts, budgets, cost analysis. That's where I came into. Like, just show me. You don't need to give me a text box that says, what would you like to ask the AI about your costs? Show me what my current costs are, then let me ask questions about it. You've moved it now an extra click away. This is what I mean by over pivoting on the AI feature. It's a great feature. It's a phenomenal feature. But why did you take away the ability for me to see my costs? I think Bing search is really good. I've been searching with Bing exclusively for the past 2 years. It's really, really good. We're pivoted and having a discussion here with chat right now, Dr. Cox. But that's where we were before the current run of discussion here. Just sent you a text with a code to enter, nothing more. So it sends me a text with a code to enter. Then it sends me a notification on my authenticator that I have to key in a number to. And then the authenticator does the biometric Face ID check twice on the app. Like, why are you doing this? There's also places where you wish there was AI, like, for example, Android phone would like to use natural voice to control it. Yeah, there you go. Ooh, go ahead, take a look. And I had to put in a password to start that flow. So I keyed in a password. I was emailed a passcode. My authenticator was pinged to say, accept a number that I'm going to show on the website screen. And the authenticator wouldn't accept that until it did biometric. That's 4 methods of authentication. Bing Copilot. So Bing Copilot is ChatGPT. Right? Right? We know this. Don't do that. There we go. Right? If you go to copilot.microsoft.com, this is ChatGPT. So I'm not signed in so that I don't dox myself. But this is ChatGPT. It's a Microsoft front end to it. And ChatGPT runs in Azure. So you're using all kinds of Microsoft tools when you work with the ChatGPT and the OpenAI stuff. All right, let's dig back in here. Let's get back to the stuff. There we go. I do want a close all for this project over here. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say your name, but thank you for joining us. I appreciate the follow, but with respect, try to keep things safe for work here on stream. Continuing. So, this might be the only 3 features that we have here. Let's also put some syntax on this. Sure. Configuration field labels. Yeah. Hey, Keith. Isn't the operator in Copilot different than what ChatGPT? It's slightly different. Yes. The model underneath is the same. You have another question? Sure. If I'm running Blazor WebAssembly, how come you have to set state change in every component? You don't. You don't. You need to say state has changed in your Blazor components when a interaction has happened that needs to update the user interface that wasn't initiated by the user. They navigate somewhere and the component is rendering. You don't need to call state has changed on the 3 main events: on initialized, on pre-render, oh my god, on parameter set, and on after render. You don't have to set state has changed on those. On a button click, on after a item is updated in a text box or something like that, you don't have to call state has changed. When a background thread updates and you want to push that change onto the user interface, you have to call state has changed. You don't have to call it every time. You only need to call state has changed in Blazor when it's not a user-initiated interaction. All right. This might be all I need. Might be. And this is then going to let me be able to merge Postgres and migration. And I want to go back. Billy Cool had an idea here. What if the startup experience for SharpSite was actually a whole separate application that runs before the main application? Then you're not carrying it around. And you would start that separate application up to run breaking change migrations for new versions. Then the main app doesn't need to know about that. That's not bad. That's not bad. I like where you're going with that. Huh. Okay. Let's peel this back a little bit. What if it's not an entire separate app? What if it's logically a separate app? We can put Razor class libraries out there that have all the startup user interface in it, and some of those initialization business logic in it. And we could put branching logic right at the beginning of program for the main website that says if the site hasn't been initialized, go load the Razor class library, and well, the Razor class library is already sitting there, but go branch off, stop processing here in program, go use that initialization configuration and work with what's there in the Razor class library that is SharpSite web install or SharpSite web upgrade, and apply those patches. I think that goes in the direction you're talking about, and it still gets us one container with some branching logic that effectively shuts off what's in the default web application and hands off, redirects entirely to a logical installation app. I think, Billy, does that encapsulate what you're talking about? Let me know. Yes, if you overuse status change, you could end up in an infinite loop. The worst thing you feel about Azure and AWS, the free trial is 12 months and small credit. I much rather have non-time based with a limited server instead that might only have 2 hours uptime. That's available along with free SQL Server databases on Azure. That's totally available on Azure. There are tons of services on Azure that you can get completely for free, including 10 32 gigabyte Azure SQL databases. There are free trials, and then there are always free features on Azure. And to be clear, these are businesses. These are not charities. These folks are extending free capabilities to you in an effort to get you to use their services. Like, they don't have to give you anything for free. So there are popular services free for the first 12 months, and there are 65 services that are always free. Right, so Azure App Service. So 10 web applications, mobile or API apps with 1 gigabyte storage with 1 hour of processing per day. That's always free. The first million requests to an Azure function. You made a point about an Azure static website. First million requests are free. If you've got more than 1 million requests coming into your Azure function, that's a good problem to have, and you might want to pay for it at that point. Azure Cosmos DB, 1,000 request units per second provisioned with 25 gig storage. That's a ton of processing that you get free. Service Bus has a similar, where is it? And AI, all the things, but let's come down here. Azure Database for Postgres, 12 months. The first 12 months of 750 hours of flexible server. That's basically an entire month that you get for free on Postgres. But Cosmos DB for MongoDB, 32 gig of storage, always free. Your first MongoDB, Cosmos DB. Azure Container Storage, manage persistent volumes, always free, up to 5 terabytes. Where's Service Bus? Is it just under Service Bus? Yeah, it is. Okay, fine. 750 hours and 13 million operations on the standard tier free. There's something else that's free on Service Bus. There you go. Azure SQL Database. Build a SQL database. 10 databases with 100,000 vCore seconds. That's basically an entire month of serverless tier and 32 gig of storage. Always free. Like, yeah, virtual machines only for the first 12 months. It's a whole machine. Like, yeah. Visual Studio Code, always free. Web PubSub, always free. 20,000 messages per unit per day. Like, yeah. So there's a lot that's free here. Why am I on the India? Like, so yeah, sales copy people are not the best at this. You were thinking of a separate app that always runs. There might be things you want to run check at every startup. Yes, I would put that in a separate Razor class library so that we have that single website in a container, and that Razor class library we can update independently, right? That's a DLL we can update. We can check for updates and have that at restart or at some sort of provide a notification. Hey, there's an update to blah blah blah. Download a new copy of that Razor class library. Apply patches. Apply plugin updates. I think we're on the same page here, and figuring out that implementation is going to be interesting. Let me come back to figuring out that hook for managing the evergreen state of SharpSite, because I think you're onto something that is going to be very valuable. I need to get there. First million requests of Azure function is collective of all functions in the subscription. Yes. There are discounts for charities. You're right, Marcus. Yep. You remember going to the dev conference in 2019, you saw DLLs being pulled into the network tab. Still happens. Blazor WebAssembly, I think they changed the file extension because firewalls were blocking DLLs. So there are some things that are available every 12 months for just the first 12 months, and there are some things that are forever. I could see why you'd be confused on the Atrium. Yeah. But there is a lot there. Hey, Leshki, how you doing there? My goodness. So I got to hang out with Leshki during the St. Jude Play Live Summit last week. Had a great time. Talking tech, we've got an app that we're going to build. It's going to be off stream. We're going to work together on MyTag, and Leshki knows where it's going. I haven't shared what that is publicly, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So excited. Oh yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that.
Code with Sean gifted Leshki a subscription. Code with Sean gifted a tier 1 sub to Leshki. They have given 30 gift subs in the channel.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. We're gonna throw you a purple hat, and we'll put the diamond icon on you as a VIP. Thank you so much. Let me do this. I think we're still running. I don't think I broke anything at startup yet. And we should probably upgrade SharpSite to Aspire 9.2 if I didn't do that yet. Oh, right there. Look at that. Some moron forgot some, what's it called? Curly braces. Code. I write it. Something like that. And there's probably somewhere else that I forgot. 134. Where did I? No, I think that's okay. And I missed a semicolon somewhere. What are you doing, Fritz? How did I drop that? Try it again. Nope, I'm missing a parenthesis somewhere. What? the heck? Oh, yeah, because I've been gutting this stuff. Yeah. So. All right. Now I'll run it. No. Are you kidding? I'm just trying to get it running again. So we can show the .NET Aspire goodness. Do I know when Microsoft is going to stop supporting VB.NET? Ask. Oh, we got to put that up on screen. Never. Yeah, I've got this kind of broken right now. I'm not going to be able to show it unless I check out and go back. Microsoft is not going to stop supporting VB.NET. Let's start there. Visual Basic is one of the foundations of Microsoft. That's not going away. That's always going to be there. So. Can I help you convince the ASP.NET team to go back to ASP? What is it about ASP that you like? VB.NET is part of the Common Language Runtime. It's part of the Roslyn compiler. It's there. It's not going anywhere. So. Now, I've got a bunch of references here that I thought I started gutting these things. I thought I removed some of these. Yeah, and I haven't updated this one. Okay. Dickie Lee, you're right. Blazor pages aren't that far off. You're nostalgic about it, Wake? Let's go back over here. What I think folks liked about ASP, classic ASP, was that you could easily mix Visual Basic for Applications code with markup, include references to other components. Blazor is not that far off from it. Blazor server-side rendered is not that far off from it. I can't say too much more, but I can say that they are doing things to make Aspire and other technologies easier to use. Eric with a question here. Do I know if agent mode is coming to Visual Studio Copilot extension? If I did know, I couldn't tell you. So, I'll leave it at that. I'll also say there's a large Microsoft conference coming up that I'll be speaking at in 4 weeks, where there will be product announcements. Will it be possible to write full Blazor in VB.NET? Razor markup is C#. You can build with VB.NET content and business logic next to your Blazor code, but the code that runs in the Blazor markup, in the Razor markup, is C#. So, no. You can get close, but no. Completely unrelated conference. So, did you see this? Let me head back over to the code. They interviewed me. You might recognize this layout. I don't know. And I'll share this link. Man, that's an ugly link. I don't know why. But this is basically me talking about the hat bot that runs into that. So, yeah, go Eagles. That's right. Go Birds. So you can. I was thrilled that the folks from Build decided to let me chat for a little bit about the AI bot that we wrote that sits there in the in chat and talks about my hats. So do me a favor, go click a response. You know, there's a couple of emotes at the bottom there. You can respond. Do me a favor, go click over to that blog post, and click one of these emotes down here at the bottom, one of these reactions, to let them know that you saw it and you think it's a cool article. Catching up here, Keith asks, Keith on YouTube. Come on now. Here we go. Do I have a session at Build this year? And if so, what day? I've got several. I have... So they kind of put them right next to each other. And these aren't the only ones. Streamlining application testing with .NET Aspire and Playwright. And I am also going to be teaching a lab, integrating and enhancing applications with .NET Aspire with our friend Damian Edwards. He's on the .NET team working on, he's focused on Aspire right now. And we're going to be showing you how to upgrade your applications with .NET Aspire. So this runs twice. This demo session, it runs once. It will be recorded. It'll be available later. This is only a 15-minute kind of demo. So I'll be doing at least those 3 sessions. I'm a proctor on a Playwright lab. And there's something else that we're talking about that I may end up leading. So that's out there as well. When am I becoming a vibe coder? What do you... So Wake, you're right there. Give me about a week. So Leshki, I think, heard me talking about this last week at St. Jude. During May is going to be St. Jude fundraiser month here. We're going to be doing all kinds of crazy things and making trolling opportunities available for you folks out there to be able to troll and encourage me to code and do things in unique ways, let's just say. And one of the things that I'm setting up is a way for folks to make donations to force me to only write code with Copilot. There's also going to be an option to allow folks to force me to only write code by dictating. And they're going to be small donations, but as you out there make those donations, it will create a timer that increases based on the number of donations that we receive. I will be required to code in that technique appropriately for that set of time. There's other things we're going to do out there. I spoke to... I can share this, but I can't share when it is yet. We're going to do a pair programming session with Maddie Montequilla, the lead program manager for .NET Aspire, coming up in May. And we're going to work on this really... I think it's an amazing idea for an online web application. That's a little bit... I don't want to give the full description of what it is here, but it's a little bit Yelp for folks who are traveling, who need to get a little bit more information about where they're going before they get there. And that's about as far as I'm going to go in describing it. But we're going to have Maddie join us for a stream And we're already talking about what chaos we can have during that stream. Pair programming together, working on an application that, just in circulating the idea with some friends, some other streamers at St. Jude Play Live last week, hey, we've got this idea. What do you think? Folks were really interested in that application also. That's not my tag, but that application, we're going to start pair programming live here on stream, and it's going to be full-on chaos and fun, and I hope we have a good time for a couple hours writing code together with our guest Maddie. That's coming up in May. We're getting the schedule together on that. Yeah, dictating's going to be fun. Nitro Evil _ asks, when are you going to get Satya Nadella on the channel for an interview? I don't think Satya would join me for an interview. I haven't had an opportunity to chat with him. Much respect to him. He's incredibly busy and very focused, like significantly focused on all the different things that are going on with the company. He from what I understand, takes a lot of responsibility for the almost 200,000 people in the company that indirectly work for him. I don't think he would join us for a stream for something. I know that he has seen parts of our stream. I know that little things that I do like this have made it back to him. I know that our work that we've done on .NET Conf has made it back to him and his colleagues, the senior executive team, senior leadership team at Microsoft. He's not joining us for a stream, but he's aware of what we're doing. So, why did Microsoft go from Xamarin to Maui? Why should you use Maui? Xamarin was a completely separate product that was not maintained by the .NET team. And they brought it in, and instead of having separate implementations for different things that were running and being deployed using Xamarin, it's all merged in, and now it's one unified code base with the base class library. It's a separate workload that you bring in for those things, but it is a complete solution that is delivered standard with .NET and makes use of and reuses a lot of other .NET technologies. Why should you use it? Because it's being upgraded, maintained, and delivering the ability for you to build native applications with all of the latest operating systems from Apple and Google. Yes, Satya is quite busy doing other stuff. Edmund asks, how about getting Richard Campbell on for a Scotch sampling? Richard has agreed to join us for a discussion stream, and I meant to schedule him earlier, but we're going to get him in the mix here to be sure. Yes, one .NET to rule it all. A Scotch sampling, I don't think I want to do live on stream. I don't mind doing a salute at the end of a very long stream and drinking, toasting with a small glass of Scotch. But I will not drink on stream and continue streaming. That's not something I'm going to do. You had to buy a $600 Mac Mini to buy to build an iOS application. That's Apple for you. You lost the swag bag. Sorry. It's a random giveaway. What can I tell you? So let me dive back into the code over here. Let's. I broke it. Where is it over here? That's what I narrowed it down to. I run at startup. And I just implemented those things. So if I just do that again here, can we get this running at least? Yes, implement the interface. Do it. Right? So Runnet Startup has a slightly different signature. So can we just grab you and update the one that I have up here? This one? No, I didn't want that. iHost application builder. Yeah. Yeah. I think we can. So we need to return app at the end of this. Right? And I can do something cheesy here and create that pointer. App.services. And now all that other code just works. Yeah, we need to make this async. Okay. Services equals. Yeah. By service collection. Right? Yeah, okay. Right, iService collection, iService collection. No. Oh. Wait a second. That should be iService provider. Rats. Because now that's service provider. There we go. Yeah. How did I get that working then over here? That's still adding things to be defined. And this is... Oh, so we need something else. Hang on. Not just run at startup. Add services at startup. And right, if I'm going to have the thing run during the HTTP pipeline, yeah, run this one. I don't want to do run at startup. Configure HTTP app. I don't know, something like that. And that's going to be right this thing here, which is web application. Why don't you like that? Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. Give me a second. Right, and I can't make this web application. Web application is an host application. What is web application? It implements something. And I forget. Right, so if I go over here, and right, let's go navigate the definitions of these things. iHost application, no. This thing. Does that have iService provider in it? It does. Okay. So I'll get one of these here. Which means I need a... Yeah, Yep. Give me one of those. That's fine. And using statement. Good. So now I just broke all the things again. Where did run at startup go? This one. Right, that's not a thing anymore. It now needs to be add services at startup. So, where'd it go? Okay. And we'll add the other one. You know, the other one. Here. Return task from results. App. Cool. Thank you, Copilot. Why don't you like that? Now shut up. No. Thank you. All right. Moving on. Over here. So this is going to be this one, which is application builder. No. No. Type it right, man. Application. That one. Go back to the thing. That's right. I have something out there named Doohickey. So now app dot application services. There we go. And now we have the services. Fantastic. I still need to implement the other half of that. And this is all going to get gutted anyway. I'm just getting this running for the purposes of getting it running. This one. Return task from result. Thank you. All right. Ads are wrapping up. I do run at startup every time. Will Microsoft support? Thank you, Matt Kelly. Appreciate you joining us. Will Microsoft support ARM64 SBCs with an OS like the Raspberry Pi and the Orange Pi Max? They do support the Raspberry Pi. Will there be anything in the future for that? You're forced to use Linux? Yeah. Hey, Urban Blaster. Hello. That should start. It's not going to do all the things, but it should start. Nope, maybe not. Womp womp. Womp womp. Right, where'd it go? Yeah, that's not a thing. Yeah, we're in the middle of gutting that page. Yeah, already got rid of that. This is... Add services at startup. That doesn't exist. But we're going to end up... Now, I'm rolling that back for right now. Yep, Code with Sean is running a user group meeting tonight. You're going to be interested in checking out. Database Manager doesn't exist. Right. Working on that. Should this really be called ad services at startup? The second ad? I thought it said at... Shoot. Thank you. Developers. There we go. Fixed. Milagros? Welcome. You love how they removed main? Yeah. What else did I break now? No. This is... And... yeah, let's comment that for right now. Because that's going to change as well. What? Yeah, that's in the middle of changing. Sure. I forgot to return the app at the end of this. What else? Yes, these don't exist yet. Come on now. Hey, there we go. Now we can get back into Aspire. And now I'm done coughing. Yeah, we need to upgrade this to Aspire 9.2. Database, and then the front end. This isn't going to end here. I hit a breakpoint. Yes. And now the website's starting, and it should be in startup mode. What? What page is it referring to? Show me some errors. Got to be working on one of the delegates. One of the middleware delegates. Yeah, we're in the middle of gutting this. So I'm not surprised that something's broken in there. All right. We'll get back into that. All right, let's... oh, boy. A lot of broken pieces as we're ripping this apart. Do I have any idea for why you have no automatic activity started in production in the web API project? Activity current is null. You're talking about OpenTelemetry. Well, you need to start an activity. Like, if you don't explicitly start an activity, it won't log it. I need to see your code. Don't know. Okay. I need to focus and get back into this. Yeah, it's almost 11 o'clock and we still haven't written any new code. Like, Is there a way for a stack trace to give you line numbers? It does. It does. It totally does. Like, we're 2 hours in here. I want to get into actually writing code now. Right? So let that error go, and it's going to dump that stack trace. Right? There's the line number right there, and right there, and right there. I'll zoom in. So, there you go. So, yep. It'll give you the line number on code that it has the debug pointers to. Yeah, I know. I want to write code on stream, right? Okay. So we separated these out, and run at startup runs in 2 places right now, and it's both for the Postgres configuration things. Code that I'm speaking of, right? Jeez. You shut up. So let's pull this a little bit further apart. No, and then. You stink. Okay, so if we're gonna start, I'm going to. If I'm going to start a plugin, see, I don't want a configuration section for data storage. What did I miss here? Okay, cool. Thought something was going on that I was gonna have a problem with here. I can start this library down here. So we'll create a new project, and this is going to be our Postgres data storage. Do I happen to have experience with NuGet package Finbuckle multi-tenancy? No, no idea. You're looking for a way to build a multi-tenancy app that can detect the tenant by either looking at the subdomain or the path of the URL. Okay, and then do what with that? I mean, you're talking about a piece of middleware that runs. This is not going to run right off of the root of SharpSite, but it's going to be in plugins. Yeah. And we'll call this SharpSite plugins data Postgres. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you joining us. .NET 9. Yep, looks good. Go ahead, build the thing. Yeah, that detecting the host and deciding what to do with it, that's just a piece of middleware that runs, right? Right, that's just some sort of map when and then deciding based on the host name, right? No. Check the host name and route appropriately. Right, and it's going to do something like that. And right, if host equals foo something, and then decide what to do at that point. Right, that's all it is. The sophistication of this pivot, looking up from a configuration file or something, or a database, and making that decision, that's up to you. But that's all that that's doing. How that affects your application later, that's... that downstream effect is up to you to configure. So... Aspire is basically you write C# to make YAML. Yep. Hey, Thindall. Hello. Alright, where was I? Down here. So this is going to implement the data storage abstraction, so let's bring that down. And, hey, McNets. Hello. So, we're going to implement iConfigure data storage and do a lot of these things up here. Here. I'll just call this configure because I can. And go implement those things. Thank you. And I'll just rename the file to match. You didn't rename the file. You were supposed to rename the file. Thank you. So the configuration fields in order to store in Postgres, that's easy. Right? No. Power your dreams with Xbox. Yeah. It's not gold. It's bold, yes. All right. Right, I could do something like server name, database name. I don't need the port. Nah, leave the port. That's fine. But there you go. There's the fields we need. So then I can use those fields to generate my my connection savings, my connection, how these things get saved out to app settings. So, Fuel Snable, yellow to you. Hello, hello. Thinking, because I'm thinking. I need more parameters. No, I don't. Do I? What if... Okay, so these two are doing database migrations. So... let's go back over here. I think iRun at startup is still a thing. And we're going to want the plugin manager to grab those. Where'd he go? Where did it go? Oh, I had it. I had it right there, man. So when we load plugins at startup, right? Register with service locator. So it sets up the internal service locator. I believe that's happening in here. Yeah, where's that called? Activate plugin manager. Which is way down here after builder build. Now we're getting into life cycle stuff. But we might be okay here. I'm funner? Well, thank you. So after we load plugins, we could this gets no, I think we're okay. Okay, let's continue over here. Called No More. I've got too many songs in this playlist, man. Where is it? There it is. Okay. At startup time, we'll want to run this one. At install time, we'll want to run this one. Let me move the repositories and the context over here. See, and there's a bunch of other goo in here also. And then there's that. Because this is the .NET Aspire version. Yeah. Thinking. I put Solution Explorer over there because I'm over on this side. And I don't want it hiding stuff at the bottom. Hey, Rick's Twitch. Hello, Rick. Why is it called a content dialog async? Because it's going to block until you get that dialog response back. And other stuff runs in the background. this isn't going to work. That's not going to work inside of Aspire. But we can do the enrich. There's a context enrich method that we have available to us. Hey, lazy dev. Hello. So what if I... Yeah, I'm going to have to gut some of this stuff. Right? C Sharp Josh.
Sharp Josh just resubscribed for 62 months.
62 months. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that support. Bring in that prime. I'm done my coffee. What the heck? What am I going to drink now? I've got the Alani. Thinking. Like, shoot. I need to be able to get into those things. What if... I saw that. Creating new storage, but it needs a way to get the connection string. This needs to be able to reach into that. So we can get the connection string information so that it can initiate the connection to the database. Which then also means... Yeah. If this is going to manage the database connection string, I need to be able to just say get database connection string. Hey, Frank. Hello. Oh. Right.
Dr. Scott!
No, he's not here. No. I also need a set method on it. That's not returning anything. Sure. That's fine. Go over to application state. Yep. Something like that. And it's actually already available here. think, Fritz? Did we just over-engineer this again? Yeah, we did. Go back. Let's make that a constant. Because I don't like keys floating around like that. Application state. No. No. Yeah. So then I've got methods to be able to set it. Oh, you want a different... You want me to put the 10x hat on? Yeah, the alert for the... I don't think I had an alert for channel point redemptions. I will. Give me a second or two here. Let's... So... Then what I should be able to do... Yeah. Right, I should be able to say, not quite. No. Get configuration by name. Application state keys, content connection string. And I'm going to need the same thing right there. Getting there. Okay. I ever build with a default implementation, like by default it's running a dummy database so it's easily testable. Then you can swap it out later. .NET Aspire allows us to do that. And yes, that's what I've been doing here. So, yeah, that's what .NET Aspire allows us to do, but we're completely gutting it like a fish and replacing it. So let's return task, completed task here, just so it's doing a thing. Thank you. Okay, so now I have a way to configure. I need to update that implementation so that it also has these. All right, good. So now it knows how to do the configure. The plugin manager needs to know about this. Plugin manager. We have the register plugin attribute that we can bring along here. And we're going to have a couple different things here that we're registering. And that's what it's looking for. So we're going to have, there's a couple different things we're implementing here. Data storage configuration. Where did I go? Data storage configuration. Post repository. Repository, yeah. No. Data storage page repository, yeah. And actually, if we're going to keep these alphabetical, it should go like that. I think those are the 3 items that we're going to be... Is this a singleton? No. Well... No, but it's only going to be run once. Let's see here. So on this, register plugin, yes. I forget how to do this. This is okay to be transient. And yeah, that's right. So it'll register and load it up into the plugin manager, and we'll be able to get this out. Yeah, I need a way to configure the configuration string based on these values coming in. And pass that, and yeah. Right. Public string format connection string. No, I want a dictionary here. Hey there. Thank you for the follow. Connection string. Be more descriptive of that. It might be really good what you put in there, but I want to be a little more descriptive of what this thing is. Server name, database name, username, password, port. Wow. That actually looks pretty good for a Postgres connection string. But pull that up into, there we go. So when it goes to, when I go to save from my database configuration screen, it's going to have these fields. I'm going to pass those into this, get a connection string out of it, and go save that into application state. When I go to use, I don't need to do the formatting. I'm going to have that connection string right there and be able to pull that out. So, what is transient? Transient is a scope that says every time I request an instance of one of these, it gives me a new copy. Singleton says there's one and only one instance of this thing out there. Can you figure out what this is? Yes. There you go. That's a fantastic automatically generated bit of documentation for us by Copilot. Love it. All right. Moving on. So I have a way to configure database storage. I need to register the other things. So I had this create database if not exists. I could probably, well, let's start off by pulling over these items. And we will update the namespace. Cool. This needs Entity Framework Core. That's fine. I did. I thought I did. Didn't you? Bockages. There it is. Give me my using statements. Thank you so much. Datetime offset converter is a value converter. Oh, look at all that. Good. Good, good, good. All right. So I have all that done. There's nothing there that's really specific to Postgres yet. Go over to the page implementation. Change this to match that. It doesn't know what a page is. Okay. So I added a reference to abstractions. Not terrible. Okay. I'm going to need to... We may end up refactoring and moving some of that around. But I want to get this working. Know what I mean? Yep, change namespace. 98% of singletons could be replaced with a static class. That's... Yeah. A singleton is a static class with none of the static issues that come with it, which makes it a heck of a lot more testable. Bing search. Having a problem with the Bing search? Yep, works just fine. So, my favorite English Football League team, Wrexham AFC, 2-point lead going into the final two matches of the season here. Oh, 2-point lead on Wickham. This is squeaky butt time. This is, it is going to be a, it's going to be a tight next pair of weeks. Win this weekend. If they win this weekend and Wickham loses, it's all over. They advance. Actually, no, it's not all over. No, it is. Yeah, it's all over. They advance. Any .NET Conf today? Nope. We're good. We are clear. So I have my Postgres context in here. I don't need to register. I should register it. Where did all that stuff go? So, right, what if I say, hang on, this gets used, rats. Okay. So let's call this data storage EF context. Yeah. Wow, look at that. It hasn't been updated since. That's why we're gutting it. .NET Conf is a 3-day event, yes. The Focus event that we did this week was only 2 half days. But .NET Conf is actually a 41-hour event. That's why it takes us 6 months to plan it. Because it's 41 hours. There are 80 sessions, including one keynote. It's a long event. There's a lot of content. A lot of sponsors. We had almost 30 sponsors last year. We're probably going to break right through that this year. We could, right, kind of. It's not terrible. I'm all right with that. But now we need to go back to here. Fix that. It's not bad to give it a little bit of clarity as to what that is. So now if I want this configured also, and this will become a mirror. So now Plugin Manager needs to know what to do with those. So it's not one of those. It's where did it go? I configure data storage. Aha! You don't know what that is yet. No. No. Actually, you shouldn't have to do that. Let's do this. And then the website. Right, where'd the website go? Dependencies, projects. Where's the abstraction? Because that's over here in abstractions file storage. So it's right there. Okay, take that back out. No, that's right. So the website shouldn't have so many things to juggle here in my head. Shouldn't have that direct reference. So, wow. That's how you know Do Not Disturb doesn't work in Windows. So, moving on. So back here, yep. Okay. Let's put the other one in there for the EF context. Yes. But it's not one of those. It's a context. It's a DB context. but that has its own syntax. We'll figure that out in a minute. What's that sound? Yeah, it was Skype. Really good content. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the .NET Conf Focus event. I'm good. I'm glad you're using this stream to learn about industry practices. That's what we're trying to keep things on. Hello, Ahmed, over there on YouTube. Welcome. Hello, Tool. Atellaris? Ateralus. If I use the transient, do I inject that into other components? Potentially, yes. We'll get there. So the service descriptor, okay. And so that puts it into here. See, this gets a little weird. No, there's somewhere else that it references and does that. Because I'm running my own little internal service provider. Right, there's the helpful method add DB context. Helper method add DB context that we normally run through that we're not using here. Right, so if we're up somewhere in here and we did builder services, add DB context. There's a whole bunch of things, options and configuration that it sets up for us there, and it also sets up a little bit of pooling for us. If we go into the code definition, because this is all open source, add DB context, and it delegates. There's a bunch of overloads here that it's delegating through and providing defaults to route through all of these until eventually add pooling options. DB context pool that wraps it. Right? So, like, we need to reflect and do very similar implementation here. We'll get there. Moosin, you have a question? Which would I recommend based on my experience? Superbase Auth or something else? I'm not familiar with Superbase Auth. And what are you looking for help with? Oh, I forgot about the hat redeem. Yes, I got to do that. $10X hat as requested by Ionescu in the hat redemption. There you go. There you go. Look at that. I am a 10x developer. It says it right there on my hat. Know what I mean? Big thanks to Surly Dev for this hat. All right. Like, when we add a database context, we have to provide the options to go with it. 10x as many bugs? Oh. Oh. Well, wait a sec. We don't have to do the options coming in. Go ahead, take a look. See. Right, we can do the connections builder here. Right? There went another forest. I think I need to get application state in here so I can get the connection string. Right? Add a default configuration for this context that uses Postgres and gets the connection string from application state. It doesn't have the Postgres package. That is a straight get, and it's defining that the database set is a set, a collection of that type. Yeah, it's a little bit cleaner syntax than doing the full get set, because I'm not doing any interaction with it between. Here's the other thing that we need to figure out. After we update and set this thing up, we need to generate migrations. Oh, yeah. And what do those migrations look like? So, all right. What does... Because this is used by the data migration. So... I think we're going to want application state model. Nope. I could do something like, yeah, that. Right, and create that as a read-only field. Okay, so I've got a read-only field up there. That's something. Fine, make it nullable. Be that way. So then I can do... Right, I'm okay with... On configuring. Right. Configure to use the NPG SQL database with the connection string configured. And we need the package here. Come on. No. No. You know what I should do? Right? Where'd it go? Here, this one. Give me the Aspire one. Right. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Yeah, good enough. No! Just wanted to delete that. Alright. So... Right, I should be able... Yes! And then, can I do the... Is it enrich? Who scheduled me for a meeting? Oh, are you kidding? All right, I need to drop in 15 minutes for a meeting. Rats! I do have a big problem to solve. Hey, Crusher. Yeah, the migration, I should be able to just Control-C, Control-V. Oh, Frank. Yeah, I've got to take a meeting. It's a thing. Where is it? There's a... I forget where the .NET Aspire enrich thing is. Enrich with .NET Aspire. Sure. No. All right. We'll figure that out. Come back to that later. So I need, where's the other syntax? I need this syntax to support the entity framework command line tool, right? I'm going to primarily use this syntax when we're actually creating and using this thing. So I think I'm okay with that. And getting it configured with our connection string that's being provided by application state. Cool. Okay. Okay. I'm feeling it. It's taking time to get here, but I'm feeling it. The migrations... So I also now need the 2 repositories. So I should be able to bring those in directly. We're going to update you. Yes. And now you know where to find that. Good. But I need to mark this. No. What is it? What did I call it? Yeah, register plugin. Close. I would like this to be scoped if you don't mind. And this is a page repository. and we'll get all that set up. We're going to change you for a second. Yes, look at that. Got it right the first time. All right. What's the difference between scoped and transient? Transient, you get a new copy every time one's requested. Scoped will, for the duration of a single web request, return the same instance every time a new one is requested. You're off to meetings as well. Take care, Sean. Great to talk to you. Let's see. So I've got that. I've got that. I need to go back to Plugin Manager, and we need to tell it about these other interfaces. Here. I have a feeling I'm going to want to pull this out. Yes. Give me another one. Oh, it's so good. Give me my using statements on those. Done. Next steps. Let me think. So let me park, since I've only got 10 minutes left, let me park what I've got right now. Yeah, look at all that stuff coming along. Here it comes. I didn't delete anything. Yeah. Started on the Postgres storage plugin. Okay. So to completely dive off the deep end here. Right. So Billy Cool was suggesting the startup configuration stuff. This should be a separate application. And I think Billy's not wrong. We can move that out into a separate Razor class library that has just those features. When you talk about a single web request, you mean like a singular HTTP request? Yes. Yes. Sounds incredibly bad for performance to recreate the instances constantly. Ah. The service locator doesn't. It maintains a pool of those and releases those as need be. And creates more and adds them to the pool as it needs it. So, yeah, constantly creating new objects, you're right, takes a long time. So it maintains a pool of them in memory and allocates them. Yeah. So, right, if we go back over here, right, we can say builder services, add transient, and where is it? Is it transient? There is a way to add a pool. Pool database context factory, database context pool. But when you say add transient, services add transient, add, right? It creates service descriptors in the collection, and it maintains a small collection of those and creates new ones as need be. So it's in the source code. You can go digging and looking for it. I'm running out of time here. Don't update. Don't keep that thing. So I was creating this on the fly to allow you to define the database connection. We're going to create this instead based on the database plugin you choose. Create these fields at runtime and allocate and place them appropriately. That's going to be some fun code to write, but I do need to go. And I'm going to wrap it up there for now. Everything that you've seen today, all of this, all the source code, everything, it's linked from the sharpsight.org website. If you're watching on Twitch, it's at the top. It's linked right at the top of chat. Click that pinned message. It'll take you to sharpsight.org, where there's a link through to our GitHub repository so you can see more. My personal working instance of this, where the code that I've been writing today is in my personal fork in the C# Fritz repository. If you want to go, you want to take a look at, it's over there. All of the source code for SharpSight is free for you to take a look at, to investigate, to check out, to explore. I encourage you to take a look there. Take a look at the issues. If there's something you don't understand, open an issue. If there's something that we missed that needs to be addressed, open an issue. Happy to talk about those on our next stream. We'll go through, dive in, and have a good time exploring and learning more and building together. If you want to contribute source code, pull requests are open. You can take a look at the list of issues, what we're working on for the current milestone. There's some documentation things that we'd like to get done. We have a great Discord where folks are talking about the project as we're building some new things. But we're at a little bit of a sticking point right here where we're trying to build some of this startup stuff. And we're not really going to get unstuck until after I get some of these pieces finished being built. All right. What a nice username. Haha. Comments. I was just about to ask if scoped could be seen as less wasteful than transient. You're right. It can be seen as less wasteful. You're right. The thing that's interesting about ASP.NET Core, the rest of the ASP.NET Core framework uses so little memory. It reuses and does not hold on to memory and wait for garbage collector, that your use of those things on a machine with 2, 4, 8 gig of memory, you're not going to run into memory issues with it. You're not going to run into memory issues at all. You're going to be just fine. Don't worry about that. President Not Sure with the resub.
President Notzuon just resubscribed for 30 months.
30 months. Thank you so much. You're catching me right as we're signing off. You learned some awful things about C# memory layout in classes. That's why we have classes, structs, so if you want to move them around, you can. But for the most part, on systems with enough memory, you're not going to bump up against memory issues at all. You're going to be just fine. So, all right. Let's take a look on the Twitch TV network. Let's see who else is streaming, who I can get you connected to. And as I'm getting ready to take off here, let me get you rated over to let me raid you over to, oh my gosh, I'm gonna raid you over to the Visual Studio channel. They're coding with Gemini with GitHub Copilot. Big thanks to everybody who was watching here. I will see you. Let me see if I can sneak in a stream tomorrow on Friday. All right? Have a fantastic rest of your day wherever you might be. I wish you good health and good coding. Take care. Hit the button!